All right, we are live. It is Amazon big spring sale time. Maybe not the most dramatic and big sale of the year. There are others that are probably a little bigger, but hey, still some really interesting deals. I made a short list over on my website, and we're going to go through that here. You can bring your questions to this live stream of things you like are debating about yourself and want to get some advice. I'm sure some of the really smart home folks in the chat will have some ideas and suggestions as well. So just a lot to go through, and just a few items to also cover at the top of the show before we really get into all the deals and other stuff with smart home tech. The first one is that we are really close to crossing to 76,000 subscribers. Not a huge milestone, but it's something. And just wanted to call that out that here. So if you're not subscribed, go subscribe. And we're almost there, 4 away from 76,000. So pretty exciting. And let's see. I need to get the chat up. I don't have the chat for some reason. Whatever happened to the chat? Okay, I'm sorry if you're saying something in the chat. I really should have this up, but I don't. All right. Hopefully you can hear me. I cannot see the chat right now. Cannot figure out how to get that up, but just give me a minute here and we'll figure that out. There we go. Now I got it. It's called comments and reactions in Ecom, not chat. That's why I wasn't finding it. Looking for robot lawnmower under $800 if possible. That's a good point. And Robin, I didn't recommend any robot mowers this time because I can check them out at conferences, and I've talked about robot mowers at conferences, but I don't really have one that I recommend as far as like, hey, I've used this. It's really good. So yeah. I am going to be trying mowers this summer, and I will have a more educated opinion on this later on. But we'll get to mowers. Maybe we'll talk about that I'm sure there's some folks in the chat who've had opinions about mowers. The i2 from Segway Navimo looked really compelling, as well as the Ecovacs ones, like the GOAT A3000. So we got some good ones here. And yes, Frederick, thank you. Hit the like button, and subscribe if you aren't already. I'm not really going to talk too much about the router thing right now, because I just think we don't know enough information about what's actually going to happen to us consumers to be able to really say much intelligent on it. One thing that you might be doing, speaking of this time of year, is you might be flying somewhere. And I wanted to mention Flighty. I've been using Flighty as my flight tracker for years now. I should disclose, because of my background in working on travel related and airline related apps in the past, I've been on the beta for Flighty, and so I get Flighty for free since long before it actually launched. The team is very talented. Ryan Jones, who founded it, is just a really smart guy. And just an amazing flight tracking app. Cannot recommend it enough. But one of the features that they just released, which is really handy, if you're flying. And also, by the way, you don't have to fly a lot to use Flighty. You can get trip or week or month. They have different intervals of subscriptions that don't apply to like the entire year. So if you're like, oh, I'm just taking that one trip, right? Then still get it. Just for that time period. But I have this new feature called Airport Intelligence, and I don't know. Let's see if my camera will focus here. Hold on. There we go. I think this is visible. But you can see the airports here, and here's Chicago, and I can pull up Chicago and get all kinds of data about Chicago. And they of course have this on iPhone and Mac as well. I mean, most of the time you'd use it on an iPhone, but you can see the weather, you can see the departure stats, how many cancellations, how many times you've been there. You can see the arrivals or departures. And so this can also be great too if you are picking someone, if you pick a lot of people up from the airport for whatever reason, you want to track their flights. There's ways you can track flights and label it as a friend's flight in Flighty, so it's not messing with your stats. They give you great stats overall about how much you've flown. Anyways, Flighty is amazing, and I can't recommend it enough. And if you're traveling this time of year, they just had a big update with this new airport intelligence stuff, which is why I wanted to mention it here. And I should have left a link in the description, but it's flighty.com. Is their website. And it's just spelled flight with a Y at the end, Flighty. So worth checking out if you're going to be traveling. Unfortunately, they don't have TSA wait times in that app, but I don't think that's possible for them to get, but otherwise they have a lot of great data. So moving on to Amazon Big Spring Sale Deals. I put together a short list, which is linked in the description. And then, so I linked to my website, but I also gave you all the links to the different products I was talking about in the description of the YouTube live stream. So whatever works for you. They are all affiliate links, so take that for what you want. But these are just some different deals I saw and just some descriptions of why you might want them. And we can go through some of that here on the stream and then also answer any of your questions. And I want to say hi to some folks in the chat in a minute. But yeah, the Ecovacs D-Bot X8 Pro Omni is a nice robot vacuum for $600. I reviewed this about this time last year, so it's about a year old, but it was the first roller mop vacuum to then also work with Matter and Apple Home. So for $600, you're getting a year-old technology that's still very, very good, mops your floors with a roller mop and has Matter integration. And the great thing about Ecovacs' Matter integration is that it will clean. It will clean specific rooms. So you can set it in Apple Home to have the particular zones that is what Matter describes it as. And then you can have automations or other things that will clean those specific rooms. Not everybody, looking at you, Roborock, supports the room things in Matter. Roborock has great tech, great Matter integrations, but they don't support that feature. And so that's a cool thing that Ecovacs has. And I just think it's an all-around good vacuum. You can go check out my review of it from last year, which, for what it's worth, I mean, I think sponsor reviews are also very helpful, but that one was not a sponsor video. Then the Eve Energy Outlet. I've also talked about this on the channel. This is just a nice, if you're going to replace your receptacles, you might as well get one with a smart plug. It is definitely more expensive than a not smart receptacle, but, or like a wall outlet. But you get that extra benefit of having a smart plug. And the place where I use it in our home, we actually kind of just use it as an outlet, really. But you also get energy monitoring there, and it works with Matter, so it works with all your smart home systems over Thread. So if you're a fan of Thread, that's great. Maybe it's not for you if you don't like Thread or have had really bad experiences with Thread. That's a topic we talked about in the last live stream with Robert about Thread infrastructure in your smart home. So you can go check out that if you haven't already. But yeah, I'll get to some more of these deals in a second, but I want to say hi to some folks in the chat and maybe hear about some of your deals too. You can leave them down, things you're excited about. So hi, Carl from Florida. Nice to see you here. And Brian, nice to see you here. Ratchet Gang, we got our regulars here. Jeff again, good evening. Good evening. William, great to see you here. And yes, Similis, I'm sorry I'm pronouncing that name, but yes, the chat was hiding from me earlier tonight. So, that's a good point, Mike. I guess the next subscriber milestone that would probably be worth like doing a big celebration for would be 100K, and I'll probably do like a giveaway of some kind when we get to that point. But based on current metrics, that'll be a little while. So we'll see. Hopefully we'll start to grow faster over the year. And technically right now, based on my rate of growth, Frederick, no, I will not, because I grow at about 1,000 a month, which is not going to get us to 100K by the end of the year. But maybe, I hope. I'd love to speed that process up. But yeah, we'll see. See where that goes. But Glee from Raleigh, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, so back to some of the deals that we have. The Eve Play. This is another one that I reviewed on the channel. Oh, only 8 left in stock. More on the way. The real killer feature of this is that it's Apple AirPlay. So it basically it connects to any kind of home stereo, and it has a really nice digital audio converter from Texas Instruments. So it's going to give you good sound quality. It's going to work well with good speakers or a good sound system, if you're attaching it to some kind of amp, or just straight to speakers. And it has Ethernet. So AirPlay with Ethernet, typically the only other way to do that I know of is Sonos. And so this is like if you don't want to use Sonos for some reason, or you just want, a pure AirPlay experience. Eve Play is an underrated product in the multi-room space. And I was talking to Eve about this product, and they're very much still, I know this came out like 2 years ago and they haven't really done much in terms of updates, but it's definitely a product that is selling for them, and they're very interested in maintaining. I mean, no new version coming, but I think it's not like there's abandonware or anything. I think it's very much a product they love and care about and enjoy themselves. So that's always good to see. And then Aqara. So I do actually, this is kind of my deals roundup, but I do have a video coming sometime soon that you'll see around some kind of smart home automation ideas, some of the examples of ways I've been upgrading my smart home, and like recently that I just haven't talked about in videos and things like that. And that video has something where I talk about the Aqara G5, because I think that the G5 Wi-Fi, which is actually on sale right now, is a really good option for just like an all-in-one Aqara system. If you've been hearing about Aqara or thinking of getting into Aqara, and not really want, for whatever reason, not needing the doorbell or maybe the future thermostat down the road or whatever, that regardless, the G5 Wi-Fi can just be a nice all-in-one Aqara solution. So I started renting an office space kind of close to my kids' school so I can quickly get to their activities after work and things. And in that space, I have control of the Wi-Fi, so I set up my own little smart home there. And I used a G5 Pro Wi-Fi as just kind of I can drop it in there. I have a camera to check on the space when I'm not there. It also functions as a security system if I wanted to arm my space like that, a DIY kind of security system. And then it works with an Aqara sensor hub with Matter. And you get HomeKit secure video, of course, and it has nice color night vision. So for $130 to get all that functionality from Aqara, not a bad deal. So usually 170. And the Wi-Fi one, I talked a lot about the PoE, Power over Ethernet one when it came out. That's really nice too. But not every time every place you have the opportunity to run Ethernet. So it's nice that you can get all of that stuff that I just mentioned all in a package that connects to Wi-Fi. So just something to keep in mind. All right, let's say hi to some folks. So I had an Eve play with a stereo, Ratchet Gang. You will probably hear about this in an upcoming video in April. But I added those speakers as like monitors for editing and stuff in here in my office. So I have them mounted like above the screen right here. So I don't actively use the Eve Play myself, but I was very impressed with it when I tried it, and I've heard good things from other people, and it seems like just a great product that I tend to be personally more into Sonos. So that's kind of one that I really look at more. But and that actually reminds me, I think did I leave yeah. Oh no. I left this off. I'll have to add this later. But the Sonos actually has their what's their little sound bar? Roam 2. The Sonos Roam 2 is on a nice sale right now of $140 for this little waterproof speaker. And that was another, if you're into Sonos, kind of a nice option. Obviously, very different end of the spectrum than the Eve Play, which is more like big audiophile stuff. But the Sonos Roam 2 is another one to keep in mind. Yeah, it's and yes, and Brian brings up a good point about the Denon speakers. I've been following that. I have not tried them or played with them yet myself, but those do look very interesting as well. So don't forget about Denon as another one to consider. I don't think they're on sale right now, and also it's like because they're pretty new. But yeah, the Sonos Roam 2 is a good little portable speaker. I was actually really tempted to pick this up because actually when I reviewed mine, I bought it and returned it. So I don't have one of these right now. But I don't know. I don't have an absolute need for it, so probably won't pick it up. But it does look like a nice deal. Another one that I've done, and I talk about this in my upcoming video, is just the Aqara door sensor 3-pack. So there's a lot of great door sensors out there these days, door and window sensors. There's the ones from IKEA now with Thread. Those are really good. So far, in my experience, I know everybody's been having mixed results with IKEA Thread sensors these days, but for me, it's been working fine. Or in that particular case, but the Aqara Zigbee door sensors are very tiny, and that's a really great thing in that you can mount them in a lot of small places. I had a video last year where I put these in a cabinet where I drilled the small part of these door sensors, right? So this is 3 door sensors here. The smaller part of the contact sensor is actually like if you take off the plastic case, it's just a little like a magnetic round cylinder. And so I drilled a hole in some cabinets and put the cylinder inside the cabinet. And it was a thin enough piece of wood and everything that was still able to be read by the other side of the sensor on the outside. And so with some sliding cabinet doors, it was still able to pick up open or closed. So there could be some clever things like that where you're able to mount this in certain places, especially if you remove the casing on the small part of that sensor. Maybe some clever DIY folks out there could also remove the big side of the sensor too, but I didn't try that. But yeah, just a nice all-around sensor. And, you compare it with the Aqara hubs we talked about earlier. And GE has, their Matter shades we talked about at CES. They've been wanting to send me these to check out, but I need to figure out the logistics of when and where I want to do that from just making that video. Take some time to set up shades, but they looked very impressive at CES. I think the Matter over Thread with these should be very good. We'll see from my own review, but if you're looking for a deal for well-made matter over thread shades that aren't that expensive to begin with. These are like $370 down to $314. They're not discounted on GE's website. It's just on Amazon that I've seen. But nice deal there for the GE Smart Shades. Let's see. Third Reality. This is these smart plugs. You can use them with Matter with the Third Reality Matter Bridge, but what I do with these is I direct pair them to Homey. If you have a Homey Pro Mini like I do, or a Homey Pro, or any of the Homey systems, you can direct pair these Zigbee smart plugs to Homey, and they give you some nice energy monitoring automation options. Of course, you can do this with something like an Eve Energy smart plug, which is also on sale. More direct integrations with Apple Home there. But what you can do with this is then automate. So, for example, I have one of these connected to my projector. And so when my projector turns on, it dims the lights around the projector area. I'm working on some other more impressive projector-based automations that might see the light of day. Been playing with some things, but that one is a reliable one that I've been using for a while. So definitely a good option in terms of just these little smart plugs are a great price at $33 right now for a pack of 4. So something to consider, especially if you're into Homey. These could be a good option. And yeah, you guys, because I'm excited, you get to see what did I actually buy from Amazon here on some of these proof. All right. And then you can see this in my shot here on YouTube in the studio, but this over here, SwitchBot sent it to me, but it's their table air purifier. And it's great. It's a great little piece of hardware. I love the design of it. It's a nice setup where you have the table with the Qi charger for charging your phone if you want to on the top. And then it is very much a plastic table. Like, it does look like plastic wood, or like a piece of plastic with like a laminate that's meant to look like wood over top. But aside from that, it is a great little table. And from a distance, it really doesn't look that fake of wood, but when you get up close, it's very obvious. But overall, it's a great air purifier. And if you don't want the table, you can get it without it and just have the air purifier. But I find it works great. And I use it in here to run, like when my 3D printer's running, I run that air purifier. And yes, Brian also added earlier, the Denon speakers he was talking about, they work with Siri as well. I'll pull those up in a second. Oops, I shouldn't have said that word. All my devices just, and probably yours too, started talking. Yeah, and good to hear, John. Yeah, Third Reality does have a lot of great products. I know, was it Shane or someone else was talking about Jimmy Hawkins, who you've seen on this channel on these live streams before. He was he had a short video on their new soil moisture sensor, and that looks like a really cool sensor. I have not played with it yet. Probably one of these days I will, but hasn't really been weather for planting stuff just yet around here. Oh, cool. Was able to put one of those door sensors at the top of my pocket door. Oh, nice. Without drilling, and it works great. That's good to hear. And it's also nice, just those kind of sensors, whether it's from Aqara or any other company like Third Reality we just talked about, being able to stock up on those multi-packs of sensors with these sales can add up over time. And just having those sensors on hand for then the next time you have a project where you need a contact sensor, it's there and ready to go. There's a balance there, right, of like when you want to spend the money, but it can be a nice time to save a little bit, particularly if you're trying to outfit a number of different rooms in the near future. So as I put on my website with this next one or last one here, the best time to buy Lutron Caseta smart switches was 5 years ago, and the next best time is now. But they're still kind of the de facto standard solid smart switches to get for your smart home. There's a lot more competition these days. I just got that new Aqara switch with a screen on it. It looks really cool. We got things like we got the Eve we talked about earlier. They have a switch and a dimmer now, and then we have what's that company that everybody loves that does smart switches with Z-Wave and Zigbee? The name's escaping me, but Lutron, of course, doesn't have any of their individual switches on sale or dimmers. I've given them feedback that I'd love to see their individual Claro switches on sale one of these days, but yes, they do have the Diva dimmer starter kit on sale again, as usual, down to $100. So save $25 on the Diva dimmer starter kit. So if you haven't gotten into Lutron, these kinds of sales are a good time to do that. And also think about if you have a second home or a friend or family member who you could set up with these, also a great time to get that too. All right. So enough. Yes, Innovelli. Thank you. That was the name. Thank you, Frederick. Innovelli. Yeah, some really cool switches, and they've done some stuff like some others have too about like integrating a presence sensor into the switch as well. And yes, thank you, Brian. Also got the Innovelli. And yeah, Philips Hue, Brian brings up a good point. Philips Hue does have 25% off a lot of products. So you can go check out a lot of Philips Hue stuff. I didn't see all their Play line or like their little table lamp on sale, but I did see they had some of their like wall wash stuff with Play on sale. See if they have it on their website too or not. By the way, I don't know if you guys have tried this, but with the Bridge Pro video I did a number of weeks ago now, and just some other videos, I've been adding new Philips Hue bulbs to my home. And the process they have in the app for that is so nice, where the newer Philips Hue bulbs, you scan a QR code to add them, and you can scan multiple bulbs at once in the app, and then you initiate the pairing process for all of them, right? So the idea is you scan the QR codes, you screw in the light bulbs, turn on the circuit to like give them power, and then you start the whole, I want to add this to my smart home thing. And it's able to do that for a number of bulbs at a time. And I just think that whole design of how they built that little feature is just, it's great. It's very, very well done. Classic Philips Hue. And it looks like a lot of their bulbs are on sale on their website. Whoops. So that's another one to check out as well. Speaking of, another little preview of my upcoming video, another light bulb that I've played with. Let's see if it's on sale. I actually haven't checked this one. Let's see. Doesn't look like this is on sale, but they do have some of their other stuff on sale. I'm speaking of LifeX. So the LifeX Luna Smart Lamp I reviewed last year, that's on sale down 23% off. So that's a nice little kind of fun lamp to put different places. It's an interesting form factor, kind of like a bathtub of light almost, that you can mount in the ceiling. You can mount it like under a shelf. You could put it on next to a wall. You could use it like the Philips Hue wall washing things and like kind of just put light on the wall. Different options with this little device. And then it has matter binding for the buttons on top, which is a cool kind of like smart home nerd feature. But here's the buttons that it has. But the thing I was going to talk about is the LifeX 1600 lumen bulb, which I don't even see on Amazon when I'm searching. But LifeX's bulbs are solid these days. It doesn't support for me, I haven't been able to get it to support adaptive lighting in Apple Home. That's kind of a big downside compared to some other bulbs like Philips Hue, but it's just a nice all around bulb. And I do think certainly you see a difference once you jump up to 1100 lumen bulbs, but then once you really jump up to 1600 lumen bulbs, for something like a laundry room or a closet, big closet, something like that, it can really make a difference. And especially in the case of maybe you're renting or something when you might be using more smart bulbs or just don't want to modify the electrical work in your home, having that bulb can almost be like putting in a different or bigger light fixture, which you might want to do in certain cases, but like that's also more involved than just screwing in a light bulb. So, and a bigger light fixture might not be an option for various reasons, if depending on where you're mounting it. So, something to consider with smart bulbs too. And no, I have not heard any update on that, but their CEO says it. Excuse me, sorry. Okay. There we go. Back and operational. I use my car door sensor to tell me my fridge has been open for too long. That's a really great automation, John. And yeah, there's a lot of contact sensors that can do that. The car one's nice, like you're saying, because it's very small. The one other contact sensor that might work for those kind of cases too is the new IKEA one. Not really discounted right now, but it's pretty cheap to begin with. The thing with that is just that it rises it's so low off of the surface. It's much bigger, but it's much shorter. And so for some cases, maybe like a fridge, I can envision that maybe working better. It has a bigger surface area to stick to the refrigerator. But yeah, the Aqara one would also work great there. That's good to hear. Let's see. Yes, I remember the name. All right. So this is what I'm talking about, where it's very small, very short, but then very broad. So that's the MIGBET. I went to IKEA recently and bought like a ton of different sensors from them, which actually, that reminds me one thing. I'll be right back. I have not played with this one yet. But I saw this and I got it at the store, and then I looked and I saw it online, but it's an IKEA Bilresa button, but it's like a multiple control button. So like you can toggle between 3 different buttons inside of it and trigger it. Again, I have not played with this at all yet, but it did look kind of cool. So when I was at IKEA recently, I picked a couple of these up. I'm going to see how they perform. But that's here, let me pull it up on IKEA's website and you can see what I'm talking about. Oops. Yeah. So this thing, and it has like a scroll wheel built into it too, which is kind of nice. So we'll see how it actually performs, but, did look very interesting. And it's a little more expensive too, a few dollars more than the other button at $9.99. order this and a few other things, you might get to that $35 minimum for shipping that you have to do with IKEA for smart sensors. But oh, that's a clever idea. So John's has his Aqara hub make sounds when their fridge door is open. That's cool. And a nice thing to tie that all in with Aqara. Aqara has some nice, easy ways to do time-based automations like that. So that can be a big benefit. Oh, nice. Thanks for tuning in, Nathan. Great to hear from you. Any thoughts on whole home battery backup systems that can help offset peak energy costs? Yeah, so there's a few different options there that we can get into. The big kind of, I mean, of course, there's Tesla Powerwall, right? Like, was one thing that's been out there for a while. One that I've seen at CES, and I talked about this a little bit in my CES 2025 videos. It's not quite as like install in your home, but I mean, it can be depending on the scale you want. But the whole Delta Pro system from EcoFlow looks like a good option to consider. They have a lot of modular systems, so you can kind of build up the size you're looking for, and do all kinds of, and it's meant to be sort of, if you have solar, you can back up the solar energy there. You could use, for peak shaving, all kinds of different energy optimizations. Not something I've really had a chance to install in my own home, but it does look really cool. I would say one creator to follow if you're looking at like whole home backup solutions or just general, ways to save on energy would be Matt Farrell on YouTube. Undecided with Matt Farrell is his YouTube channel. Let me pull up his YouTube channel. But that's a good channel it talks about all kinds of home energy stuff. Really great creator, and I know him. And actually one of the companies that he connected me with. So if you see that and you're like me and thinking, oh, maybe I don't want to spend a bunch of money installing a huge home battery backup in my garage, right? Because that's a big expense, and you're really committing to one particular product. In that case, there is another kind of energy startup that's a little bit lower key around that, and that's called Pila Energy. So this is actually something I'm now sort of micro famous for, which we'll get into in a minute. But Pila has these really cool batteries. Now they're on Kickstarter right now. It's going to launch later this. I think they're shipping very soon. They told me at CES that they're starting to ship to their original backers. But the idea is it's a battery you can put like on top of your refrigerator or somewhere else, and then be able to power your refrigerator, or power your computer setup, or whatever else. And they have peak shaving concept built in there too. So it will then run off the battery during peak power hours to save the usage you're pulling from the grid at that particular time. So that's another one. And I think the price on that is like around $1,600 per battery. So it's much bigger than the typical like battery backup you buy from Amazon. But it's easier to install and use than something that's much bigger system. So this is personally what I'm very interested in trying, in terms of home battery backup or peak shaving as well. So we'll see, but that's probably my top pick, but then also looking at whatever, other solutions out there, like whatever EcoFlow has, is probably pretty good to consider as well. Now, the reason I said earlier that this was popular, and some regular viewers of the channel might have heard me mention this before, but I made a short about this company at CES about their booth. And there were some people who saw that who happened to also speak Portuguese or be from Portugal. And apparently the slang, so pila means battery in Spanish, but it also is slang for, your, like, how do I say this on YouTube without getting flagged? But like your male reproductive parts in Portuguese. And so that was that became very popular when a lot of people who spoke English and Portuguese saw this guy standing up in front of a booth talking about pila and with the big pila letters behind me, and they just thought it was hilarious. And so that video has like, that short on especially Instagram has like 600,000 views or something at this point. So it's just like whatever. It's out of my hands now, but I just find it kind of funny that it's just like that got attention for that reason. But yeah, my Pila content and the Pila battery, good stuff. So yeah, some bad stories about the IKEA button. Going back to that, we got Indico saying, okay, so cool. So Ratchet Gang has the wheel. Okay, and okay, so Tanny O'Haley's saying the Aqara E10. I would bet Aqara has good stuff. I'm guessing that's Aqara Solix, maybe. But yeah, Aqara E10 might be a good option to consider for home battery backup. That's why I love these live streams too, because there's a lot of people who, Aqara Solix E10. A lot of people in these chats who know a lot more about specific aspects of smart home tech than I do. So it's fun community chat here. Yeah, here's the Solix. And yeah, I have seen these as well. Seen Aqara Solix's booth at CES as well, different years. Looks very impressive. And as I said, it's not super an area of expertise for me, at least just yet. Maybe one of these days I will, because with an EV now, might be getting into solar and just EV charging and stuff like that. So right now I still just charge my EV off of the basic wall outlet. You plug it in and then the lights flicker in the garage for a second, but it works. Just not quite as fast as it could be, of course, if it was a bigger charger. But yeah, this looks like a really good option to consider too, the E10. So yeah, let's Ratchet Gang's mentioning he likes this, the wheel and stuff. Let's just go ahead and we can open this and see what this is like. So this is all right, cool. So then this is a weird tactile feeling, like I can't really get it to move. It's like it's just clicking. I don't know. Could try and add it to my home and see what happens. All right, so there's the Matter code. Yeah, let's just go ahead, do it live. All right. Oh, I don't have any batteries with me right here. Need to get up and get those. We'll do it later, another time. Okay, so yes, and actually, yeah, Brian's saying the River 2. I have the EcoFlow River 3 Plus. It's a great battery that's kind of more sort of between a Pila size battery and a small portable phone charger or something like that. I have a River 3 Plus that I use, and you can use those as like almost like a UPS as well. And those are great batteries. They also have a cool thing. Those can be really great for camping as well. They have one that even has like a MagSafe charger built into the top. I wouldn't be surprised if these are on sale for Prime Day. But let's see. So this is the River 3 series that Brian is talking about in the chat. And they have the expansion with the River 3 Max as well. Again, not whole home, but something that you could get some, you could charge your fridge for a little bit of time probably with one of these, not a huge amount of time. And then you could also, it's also great for camping. So, and then yes, like I have mine actually in my, my office away from home right now. And I use it just as a UPS. It doesn't have all the fancy integrations of some UPSs where you can like plug it into your Mac or NAS and it'll auto shut off when the power goes off. It doesn't have any of those options, but it is just a solid battery that, when the power goes off, it'll keep your stuff running for a while. So yeah, that's the River 3 Plus, another good battery. Yeah, so Ratchet Gang, I thought you said you had this. Sorry. Yeah, it's weird. They say it's a scroll wheel on the IKEA website. But where is that tab? But I'm trying this thing here and it's just a button. Like this is just a button. This does not feel like anything but like I'm not moving anything when I do this. Now maybe when I add it to my smart home, maybe it responds somehow to like me pressing around the edges, but I don't think so. There's like a button down here, which I think means you press this bottom to toggle between buttons. And then you have a button up here to toggle between stuff. So yeah. Another Bill Racer letdown, I guess, from IKEA. Although I have 2 of those buttons, and for me, they're working great. I know there's a lot of people have had issues with their Bill Racer buttons. For me, they're fine. You know what buttons I really don't like though that have been tried recently because of the software. Like, so I praised Philips Hue earlier for having great software for adding their light bulbs. You scan the QR codes, add it to your smart home, multiple bulbs at once, easy, well done design. The Philips Hue buttons, just, I don't know what they were thinking in terms of how you press the button and then like get it to trigger different light scenes and stuff. What most people probably want when they set up a Philips Hue button is just, I want to press it. And if the lights are on, it turns them off. And if I press it again, if the lights are off, it turns them on. And they don't want to cycle between, I want this kind of like more yellow version of my lights and then more white and then a red or blue or purple, right? There are other Philips Hue controls that do that kind of a thing way better. A single button is not the place to be cycling through your lighting. So yeah, it's just, I'll pull this up so you guys know what I'm talking about, but it is just not a great product from Philips Hue. All right, this is what I'm talking about. Do not buy this. It's not very good, especially for $24, man, or 32 or 33, not on sale. Yeah, this thing is not good. So yeah, see, they want you to tap it to cycle through things, and it's just like, it doesn't, why would you do that? That doesn't make any sense to me, and I think it's just going to make people more frustrated because they're going to press it thinking, I pressed this and the lights turn off. Wait, the lights aren't turning off. They're just changing colors. Like that's just annoying. So. Another, I have not tried this yet, but while we're on the topic of buttons, another one, see if this is. Yes, here we go. HomeKit News has a post about this. Sleek Point emailed me about this earlier today. Airversa, which is the Sleek Point brand, again, kind of confusing branding, but they have a new Matter over Thread, Apple Home over Thread, so not Matter, button with 3 buttons on it. So, of course, they make the Thorbolt X1, which I've talked about on my channel, and some other smart locks like the latch lock that I have behind me. I don't know. We'll see. I like how this has a switch mount that kind of looks like a light switch, so it looks nice on the wall, like kind of flush like a normal control. But we'll have to see how this one actually performs when I get it in. But enough on buttons. It's kind of a weird side detail of a smart home. Let's see. What else have we not talked about? Any other deals? Any other stuff? Oh, yeah. People are asking about smoke detectors. Yes, they are regulated. Although I did see something with Ubiquiti at the whatever the security conference is that George and a handful of other people have gone out to this past week in Vegas. I forget what it's called. That had a big Ubiquiti booth, and Ubiquiti was showing off they are making a smoke detector, which I presume would work in the US, given that Ubiquiti is largely based in the US. Although it seems to be more part of their Internet of Things for like industrial use cases, right? So more of like a warehouse maybe kind of scenario, but they're making a smoke detector. It looks like it's part of their SuperLink platform. So very cool, and probably something we could end up using in homes here in the US, but oh yes. Thank you, Tanny, for bringing me back to that. So yes, back in 2025. So some backstory on this. LifeX has been a brand in the smart home space for a while. They've been making lighting products. They're based out of Australia. They, for the longest time, were Wi-Fi based. So pretty much everything LifeX made was talk to your smart home over Wi-Fi. And they worked with Apple Home, and that was all fine. But I think the world of smart lighting got competitive, got commoditized, and they kind of left the main scene, at least here in the US and a lot of the world, in terms of their lights weren't nearly as popular. Then Fate Electric, FEIT, they acquired LifeX, and then at CES 2025, LifeX shows up to the show back and better than ever. They had the LifeX Luna to announce and a handful of other things, and they were talking, their CEO was talking about how a lot of their products at the time and going forward, they're going to be shipping with Thread radios that are sort of dormant in the device, and they will turn them on in the future with a software update. I have not heard anything else about that since then. Maybe I missed a story here or there about them actually launching Thread. It seems like something the CEO would like to do, but I think LifeX is alive and well and doing great. It's great that I can go into my local Home Depot and I see a ton of LifeX stuff now. They had this year at CES, they had the LifeX mirror that I talked about in my CES video. That looks like a really cool product as well. So it's just good to see LifeX have some power behind them and bigger corporate budget. And again, a lot of people have been wondering when are they actually going to support Thread, if they're going to support Thread. That said, though, the Wi-Fi connection that they have right now with a lot of their products is really strong. I don't have any problems with it. So yeah, that was basically what I was getting at. It's like, I think someone else asked earlier about when are we going to get Thread with LifeX, and that was sort of, that person was asking it with, I think, the understanding of that backstory. And yeah, we got 26.4 out this week. There was a genius feature added in Apple TV, which looked pretty cool, but I guess I don't know. Not really something I like care too much about. They also removed iTunes movies and TV shows finally from the Apple TV app. Not too much else in terms of smart home things. I've been updating my devices, and so far my smart home seems pretty stable. I wasn't on the betas for 26.4. The feature that I'm excited about with 26.4 that is just enabled and it hasn't really started to become a thing yet is AI conversations in CarPlay. So, yes, for those of you who are just joining us, like this conversation has gone way off from the original idea of smart home deals. We talked about that a little in the front of the stream, and there's links in the description. But yes, iOS 26.4. I'm really excited about that whole feature of like just talking to AI with CarPlay, because I think that's a place where AI could be so helpful, where you're driving in your car and you have a question or an idea or something else, you want to talk to AI. And as a parent with a job and like, this YouTube channel, I don't have a lot of time to just sit down and like type to a chatbot about something, or even talk to a chatbot with an app when I'm not, driving is a great downtime when I'm listening to a podcast or something. And to be able to use that time to talk to an AI bot about some kind of thing, and maybe even use something like the new Claude Dispatch, like then go get your Mac at home to do something for you while you're driving. That whole thing is like, man, driving could become way more productive for those of us who have to drive a lot for some reason or another. So yeah, I don't know, just something that could be. Yes. And then speaking of AI, there's some new Apple Music playlist stuff around prompting for Apple Music. That sounds pretty cool. Ironically, kind of like that old feature that Beats Music, which Apple acquired and made Apple Music. They used to have that where you pick words that kind of evoked the mood you wanted, and then you'd get a playlist. So that looks cool. But I haven't played with that yet. They also have some new Apple Music features around like concerts near where you are, and some other things that are just kind of, I think they're trying to catch up with Spotify in a lot of those areas. So that's good. Okay, Frederick, thanks for the context. So you heard that the LifeX CEO had just not said probably what he should have. So I don't really have too many CarPlay automations. I did play with that whole idea. So for those who aren't familiar, there is inside of Apple's Shortcuts app on the iPhone, you can go in there and choose a personal automation to set up when CarPlay connects. And then you can do whatever you want. You can run a shortcut at that point that does any kinds of things and presents you with a menu of options, maybe to start different music or podcasts or whatever, navigation to particular places. And that can be cool. I just found there's enough different circumstances that you get in a car for that it ended up not being as useful. And then I'd end up just like this menu just kept popping up on my phone when I go in the car. And I usually pull out my phone to do something else, like look up the specific address or wherever I'm going. And if I'm using the map or just something else. Right. And so that was not really that helpful to me. So I ended up stopping using it, but it is a cool idea. And there's probably some clever use cases depending on what you do with your car for that. I end up, the biggest thing is just having that having a smart garage door in Apple Home, which is harder than you think these days with just the different ways you can integrate your garage or not integrate, like there's so few options for a lot of people to integrate garage doors, which is a topic we've talked about before. On the Third Reality one looks like a compelling option. I'm going to be testing. There's some others as well, but just having a garage door in Apple Home, that means that that's right there as a square in Apple CarPlay as you're coming to or leaving your home. So there are times when I'm just far enough away that the old-fashioned radio garage door opener doesn't quite work well. And so then I can just go ahead and trigger it in CarPlay, and that's great. So that's not really an automation, but it's definitely a smart home feature in CarPlay that I really appreciate. So yeah, exactly. Or the pod bay doors. Oh, that's cool. So Brian has a Apple Home switch. I'm guessing this is a Home Assistant fake switch, but maybe it's a real switch. And so only in the morning. So every morning, the first time you use the car, because you can also, by the way, with the shortcut, it can announce or say things. And so it gives them a morning briefing of the calendar and weather. So that's really cool. That's a great idea. I might actually copy that, Brian, to give you credit for sure on that one. There's also, yeah, I think that's a really neat idea. So, okay, yeah, Home Assistant fake switch. Yes, that can be very helpful. Yeah, I mean, the garage door closing and opening can be a really nice signal for automations in general, because it's a pretty clear point at which you're leaving or coming home. And so, yeah, that's one where I've heard of other people mention that and I've played with this idea as well, disarm your security system when your garage door opens. Of course, that can be a big vulnerability. If someone can figure out how to open your garage door, then they disarmed your security system, but it also then prevents some false alarms or something where that could cause a problem with your security system. So, or, cause it to go off when you don't want it to. All right. I'm getting tired. Oh yeah. And Ratchet Gang's mentioning Rat GDO. That's another good garage door opener option. The one I'm currently using still, although I keep meaning to use, there's so many things named Tailwind with Tailwind CSS. There's, Tailwind garage door. Yes. GoTailwind.com. This is what I'm still currently using on my garage door, and it's great. They have, so now they have a new version. I don't have this one. This is their new Tail IQ3. Okay. So I have their old version of their, yeah, this is what I have. Okay. So the IQ3 2.0 versus the IQ3 first gen. That's, someone needs to work on their product naming, but, yeah, so I guess you can't get mine version anymore. But these are fine, and they work pretty well. Kind of like a hack where basically you pair it with your garage door, in my case with Chamberlain, and it acts as like a third-party remote that then it's able to control. Of course, the one that I am planning on testing, I actually have it sitting on my shelf over there to test, but I just haven't gotten around to it, is the Third Reality one. They have, it's kind of no one's going to be able to make this not work. Because basically like you put a sensor on your door, right, to know if the door is open or closed, but then, it just takes your remote and it has this like thing that then just like presses down on the button. So no matter how closed, like if you have the latest gen Chamberlain MyQ system that's super locked down and doesn't integrate with anybody, well, they can't stop you from having a robot push the button. So that's what this does. So we'll see how that works, but I thought that was pretty clever. So, yeah. All right, I'm yawning. I'm tired. I'm getting to bed. But it's been really fun hanging out with you guys. We've had a lot of fun discussions, learned about how this thing doesn't really have a scroll wheel on it. Yeah, talked about some smart home deals. They are linked in the description below. And I forgot to mention in those deals, of course, that the Sonos has a the Sonos. Now I'm forgetting the name of it. I'll put it in there. The Sonos, the little portable speakers on sale. But anyways, thanks for hanging out. Great live stream. Have a good rest of your day or evening. Good night.